On today's video, we're going to be talking about when you should start throwing topwater baits. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today on this video, I wanted to answer a question from a viewer. I thought this was a great question because it's a topic that I've wondered about. Early on in my career, I really was trying to figure out when to use topwater baits, when they start becoming, a factor in the beginning of the season. Because we all know that topwater baits really aren't as effective when the water is cold. Fish just do not feed on the surface near as much. Their strike zone is much smaller. They're generally not going to move from, somewhere deeper to the surface to eat something. That's not to say that they will not do that ever, but it's definitely not something that you're going to be doing a lot. There are a couple of one exception that I can think of, and we'll mention that. But the question that I got was from Parrish Brady 8440. He first off, he started out the question with some flattery. That's always welcome. We've got so he says, great to have a professional, experienced fisherman answering questions for us regular guys and gals. Garsh, thank you. I'm blushing. I would love to know your opinion on when to start throwing a topwater bait. Keep up the good work. First off, thank you for that. Really appreciate that. I really like getting, obviously positive feedback on the channel from viewers, and so I'm honored. And as far as your question, this is a really good question because it's really pertinent to like right now, this time of year, anywhere in the country. Right now we're in Minnesota. We're going to be fishing the Dick Hiley Bass Classic to benefit St. Jude here on the Mississippi River, pools 4 and 5. And we're just, even though we're way up here, in the north part of the country, we're getting into that time period where topwaters are going to start playing a big role in fishing. And really, what happens is that there's a huge, window of opportunity for topwater, just generally speaking throughout the year, right? Usually it's when the water is above 60, the low 60 degree range, and higher. That's kind of the degree range, the general, degree range that you're going to be using topwater baits in. Again, it's possible to catch fish in colder than that, but it's much more rare, and it's not something that you're going to be doing very often. Okay, topwater fishing really, it's important to have good warm water. All right, so let's talk about when topwater baits start becoming a factor. And the short answer is right now. During the spring, that's when topwaters are going to start playing a factor. But there's much more to it than that, right? It's not that any topwater is going to work right now. It really kind of comes in phases. So as you get into the pre-spawn period, you're still not really in a great topwater period. So below the low 60 degree range, you're really not going to be throwing topwaters a lot. The exception that I kind of noted a little bit earlier is some wake baits, some of those longer, like Bomber Long A wake baits, or baits that people use as wake baits. There is a window of opportunity during the pre-spawn where guys will catch them with those sort of baits, but that's generally in very clear water. It's very popular in Tennessee, but so that is kind of a caveat. You can catch fish in cooler water, maybe the high 50s on topwater baits. And I'm sure that there's somebody out there that's going to comment and say, I caught them on buzz baits in 50 degree water. Sure, I'm sure that definitely happens, and if you have found that pattern and you're successful year to year, keep that under your hat, let me tell you. But as we get into the spawn, that's the time period that topwater baits start playing a role. However, as you get into the spawn, one of the key things to remember when you're you know, switching over to topwater fishing is to use topwater tactics that stay in the strike zone for a longer period of time. So for instance, a buzzbait isn't necessarily the best option during, you know, the spawn time period. It can be very good, but I like to use baits that really hover above the fish for long periods of time. Maybe you can just kind of you know, sit it there and walk it side to side, like in the same spot practically. And that's why these two baits right here, a poppin' frog and a popper, are really, really great baits to start the season out with on top. Poppin' frog is absolutely one of my favorites. In the springtime when the fish are hitting the beds or in the shallow areas where they're about to spawn, a poppin' frog is really good. You know, even better than the traditional popper, just simply because it has a weedless, you know, design to it. So this one right here is one of my favorites. Both of these that I'm showing you right now are Berkeley baits. I have no association with Berkeley, so the reason I'm showing you these is just because I like them. But this one right here is the Swamp Lord popping version. Really, really good poppin' frog. I really like this one a lot. It's nice and soft. It collapses really nice. It comes in some pretty good colors. This one right here, I don't know exactly what they call this one, but it's a really good one during the spring. But poppin' frogs are really good. And the reason why I'm using a poppin' frog versus like a walking frog is that a poppin' frog, because of that concave mouth, it really limits the forward movement as you work this bait. So it creates that resistance, you know, that does, you know, push water out in front of it and create more commotion. But more importantly, it keeps it in place. So you can actually walk this side to side in open water without, you know, moving it forward that much, which is great because, and the reason why you want a topwater bait that stays in the strike zone better this time of year is that usually you're fishing it above beds. So you can't, obviously a fish, if you're 10 foot away from a bed, or you move out of that bed zone really fast, you're probably not going to get that bite. Or, you know, there are plenty of times that you can get that bite, but I'm telling you, there's so many times where a fish just needs that hovering above their head. So the poppin' frog is going to be my choice if I've got a bunch of cover around, which usually you do have cover, you know, around during the spawn. Usually the fish are going to be spawning around some type of object or cover, such as, you know, a line of reeds. Maybe there's like a little pocket in some reeds, you know, just a random stick up, a lay down, any of that kind of stuff. That's usually what a bass is going to spawn around. And this thing can go everywhere. It's just a little all-terrain bait. However, if I have more open water, maybe I'm fishing shallow flats or something like that, and there's really not a lot of grass or cover, a popper has a better hooking percentage in general, and can really catch those fish that are short striking topwater baits, which is common this time of year. Usually when a bass on the bed is hitting a bait, they're really doing it out of aggression, just kind of like get out of here type of thing. They're not really choking it down generally. You know, this bait is great if they are eating it, but a popper can get those fish that just kind of slightly miss them. And this popper right here, this is the Bullet Pop 80. I really like this one. I like the smaller version of the Bullet Pop too, but this one has a good side-to-side action. It's got a lot of noise. It comes in some good colors too. So all of the links for these two baits are going to be in the description below. I'll also put some other options that I like in the description below, so check out those links if you're looking to purchase anything. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for this time of year. Another option, which can be very good, is a prop bait. Prop baits like, for instance, if I can get it unstuck here, prop baits like this Kelly J Jr. I don't even know if they make this one anymore, but this is a Lucky Craft prop bait. Again, I'll put some, if I can't find this one on Tackle Warehouse, I don't know if they sell it anymore. I'll give you guys some other options that I really like, but those type of baits will also stay in the strike zone a little bit longer. They do tend to move forward just out of, you know, the nature of the design. They tend to move forward a little bit, but you can just hover them above the bed for long periods of time. And another thing, you're kind of noticing a you know, trend with all these. All these baits are good bluegill imitation, you know, bluegill or panfish imitations, the frog, the popper, the prop baits. All of them can be found in really good bluegill imitation patterns, and that is really, really important this time of year. I've talked about it before, but during the spawn, the arch nemesis for bass are bluegill and panfish. Those are the number one you know, offender for nest robbing, and so bass just tend to be very aggressive towards those species this time of year. So anyways, guys, I just wanted to kind of run through my thoughts on that, to kind of revisit the question, you know, when should you start fishing topwater baits? Right now during the spawn. Pre-spawn, not as much, but can be effective. But as soon as the fish start moving up shallow to spawn, that's the time period you want to use topwater baits that can stay in the strike zone longer. And then afterwards, that's when you want to branch into other categories of topwater baits. It kind of opens wide open, and you kind of have to cycle through the different categories like buzz baits, walking baits, pencil popper style baits, all that different type of stuff. So anyways, guys, hopefully this video was helpful for you. Get out there, get you some of these baits that I talked about today during the spawn, and go have a blast with those you know, big fish hitting those plugs on the surface. So thank you guys. Thank you for the question and the flattery. I always like that too. And I'm going to see you guys out on the water. Make sure you trust the process.